Driven Flawed. It's a year since we picked up the Mustang, this wonderful Mach 1, and it is raining. It's a pretty horrid day today. It's not like it was on pickup day, which was beautiful. The car is now reading just over 9,000 miles. We are just over 300 hours in it, and yeah, it's telling me we've averaged just shy of 22 miles to the gallon, which is possibly not that bad, considering I have driven for the last 9,000 miles. Well, let's just say I wasn't trying to conserve fuel. We're going over to Hendy Performance Ford today, where it's going to have its first service, and after that's done, I'll run through the garage report with you and let you know how things are holding up after a year. What have been the highlights of this car? Well, one of the highlights is stalking Tesla drivers and being a teenager and showing them what a real engine sounds like as I drive past. The manual box is exactly what I wanted out of this car. I wanted a car that when I got in and drove it day to day, just going around doing things like the 9,000 miles and 300 hours that I've been driving it over the last 12 months, it is something I really drive, I'm really connected to, I am involved in. When I was looking at the spec on this vehicle, I was pleased about the fact that it had this Bang & Olufsen stereo pack, and I could see there was this big bass speaker in the boot, and I like the idea of a big stereo, and so I was quite excited about the stereo in this car. Honestly, in 9,000 miles, how much have I had the stereo on in this car? I'd be amazed if it was 5 to 10% of those 9,000 miles. The involvement of the car, driving of the car, the noises, the sounds, the doing that and squiggling the back around in the wet, and all of that is just so involving that you don't think about putting the stereo on. For thousands of miles, I still get in it, press the start button, and it just puts a smile on my face. It's such a wonderful thing to drive. So we have arrived here at Hendy Performance. Check out this beast. Look at this thing. Kind of fun to see the Amira here. Not totally convinced it's at home in the wet and the snow, although it's from Norfolk, so maybe it is. I like that little early gen Elise, that's a nice looking car. Rather tasty RS. Drove one of those back in the day. Took it for a test drive. Obviously the full-on Cozzies have just rocketed in value, but this is kind of fun. Now the Bullet was very nearly what I bought before the Mach 1. I think that is a great colour. So I've parked up just to run through the garage report on the Mach 1 for today. I mean, the first thing I've got here is the invoice, which is the first sort of part of what we've done. And I've got to be honest, I was pretty surprised. I had some vague conversation with him about costs, but this is a very modern and relatively complicated car, and I've come away with an invoice for about 230 quid. I'm quite pleased about that, and we have obviously the filters and the oils and the consumables and all the other bits and pieces that have been done. This is the digital service report, which has got a whole bunch of pages to it. The thing that stuck out to me that really bugged me about this report was up there where it says colour. You probably can't see this on here, but it says cactus grey. I'm sorry, but this is jet fighter grey or fighter jet grey, depending on who you talk to. It's not cactus grey, and I know cactus grey is another Ford colour, and clearly they are the same colour. It would be nice, Ford, if you call a car something exciting like fighter jet grey. At least say that on the reports, although it's not quite as bad as the UK. Brakes. This surprised me a little bit. They're coming out at 10%. Now, I have honestly hooned this around for the last 12 months, driven it like a teenager, and yet I appear to have only worn out 10% of my brakes, which I'm reasonably pleased with. Maybe I'm using the gearbox far too much to pull speed down just because of the joy of the sound of that glorious engine and having fun with the rev match. I'm obviously enjoying that too much. Tyres are, well, we're 9,000 miles in. You'd expect there to be something there. They are still showing at broadly 5mm treads, which is, again, pretty good. We have a slight wear on the inner depth of the tread as opposed to the outer depths of the tread, which the chap there tells me is really normal for these and for GTs. So tyres were all good, exhaust, drive shafts, all those things, all good. Obviously, the way these things work is they run through a whole checklist, tell you whether things are okay or not. Some of this is a little bit irrelevant because you wouldn't expect controls and gauges and warning lights to suddenly not be working after 9,000 miles. But anyway, they run through it, check it all, wipers, the washers. The wipers have actually held up fairly well. I've just started getting a little tiny squeak. It's such a small squeak that my son can hear it and I can't, which I guess is probably on account of me being a little bit older than my son, but it appears I've lost the very top end of my hearing because I can't hear the squeak from the windscreen wipers, which drive him nuts. Anyway, they didn't pick it up on the report. They said they're okay. So whoever the service engineer was, clearly had the same problem as I do. Lighting, all of that stuff is all fine. The actual driving of the car, braking, clutch, movements, all of those things, all of that stuff is working fine. Drive belt's good, battery's good, fluids are good. I mean, all the things you would expect to be good on a car of this fairly young age are all fine. So not a great deal else to mention. Thanks for joining me today. It really helps if you click the like button and subscribe to keep in touch. And why not check out the next video on the fabulous Toyota Supra.